You're listening to TGI Sports Talk with your host, Keith Angle, on Northeast Streaming Sports.
Hey everybody, Keith Angle for TGI Sports Talk. How you doing today? Again today, you're probably getting tired of seeing me. That's what happens when somebody's on vacation who is into doing what I'm into doing. You'll see a lot of me. Anyway, this morning we had Hal McCoy on. Sorry for the technical difficulties that we encountered, but we did get him on the phone for 45 minutes or so. So we had a good interview with Hal, and I thank Hal for that. This is going to be a different time slot for me this week for a live show. Just decided this morning to go live at this time to kind of go over the NFL playoff picture. Excuse me. We're going to pick game by game, and we're going to take it right through the Super Bowl. We'll see how we do. Picking and prognosticating way ahead of time. So we'll see how it goes. Sorry, I'm working on my lighting again. That's all I do. Still a little wintry here in Northeast Greenbush, in East Greenbush, and good day to be sitting right here doing what I'm doing. I hope you're having a great week wherever you are as we kind of wind out of the holiday season and back into reality. Fortunately, reality has been a little scary recently due to events that we will not talk about too much here. We will have to talk about COVID a little bit. But we had the distraction of the NFL playoffs coming up this weekend. I probably would have normally done this on my Sunday show, but we've got 3 games on Saturday, so I thought it best to get this out of the way. My weekend football picking mates will be sending me their picks so we can have a little competition through the playoffs. And again, we will not be repicking. We will pick right through the Super Bowl. But I want to go over all the matchups with you guys. So we'll talk nothing but NFL football for the next hour, however long it goes. So anybody who tunes in live, I welcome you. Feel free to comment as we go through this. And if you're watching it later on, recorded, then feel free to comment then. I'd love to see your picks and your eventual winner. I may not have a lot of surprises. We've obviously got some weird anomalies with seedings because of, the team formerly known as the Redskins being in the NFC and such. But we're going to go through game by game, and we'll pick a winner in each game right through the Super Bowl. So, where do we start? How about at the beginning? The first game of the week will be, by the way, guys, COVID is still playing havoc with the NFL. Games can't be postponed anymore, so teams are going to have to, suck it up. You got the Brown situation, which we'll talk about in a little while. God knows what could pop up through the course of the weekend. But, and some of these teams are going to have fans. The Bills game, which is the first game we're going to talk about, Saturday at 1:05 on CBS, the number 7 Colts will be at the number 2 Bills. Buffalo's, a touchdown favorite here, 6.5 points actually. The Bills are in the third time in 4 years after not being there for 17 years. They got a taste last year. They haven't been able to, smell victory, although they were winning a lot. Meant much of that game last year, but at the end of the day, it only matters when there's zeros on the clock. So that experience, I think, will bode well for them. The Colts, I've not been big on all year. The Bills have been kind of wishy-washy, but I've really started to come around the last month. The Colts have not been high on all year, not high on Phillip Rivers. There was a time I thought Phillip Rivers should have been benched. Colts have got a good defense. and they're in the top 10 in both points allowed and yards allowed. So it's going to be a good matchup, but, I don't know that they can slow down Josh Allen and the Bills offense. I think the only chance the Colts have to win this game, I originally was thinking about picking the Colts in an upset here, but I got off it, here just a few minutes ago, actually. The more I looked into this, the Colts' only chance in this game, in my mind, is to keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands, which means Philip Rivers will have to throw for less pass attempts than he has all year, which in my mind is 20 or fewer. They've got to run the ball. And Jonathan Taylor's been on fire. 700 yards, 740 yards, I guess, the last 5 weeks, 250 in week 17. But the Bills have been playing better defense. The Bills were getting these games, we're staying in these games last year with their defense. They've got a lot of those guys back. A lot are healthy. They're playing a little bit better defense. And I just think that the Bills are going to be able to handle this. I think they're going to be at home with some fans, interestingly enough. The governor has decided to stay home, as he was requested to do so by many of his constituents in Western New York. He graciously backed out by giving his tickets to a nurse. Oh, gosh. I could go so many places, but I won't. So we're going to take the Bills here, and I think the Bills will win by a couple of touchdowns. We're not picking points here. This is a straight winners, but I think the Bills will win this. I think the Bills will win this by less than 10 points. So they may beat the spread, they may not, but I'm going to go with the Bills, the favorite at home, to beat the Colts. Game number 1. Game number 2 this weekend. And we'll go by the order of the games. In the NFC, at 4:40 p.m. on Fox, the number 6 Rams at the number 3 Seahawks. It's the third time they played them all year. They've struggled with the Seahawks. I liked them against the Seahawks a couple of weeks ago they played. And it just didn't get done. They lost 20-7, I think, maybe 21-7. Jared Goff will play with a surgically repaired thumb this weekend. I've been high in the Rams all year, but they need to put Jared Goff in good situations, and I think they're going to have trouble doing it against the Seahawks. Sorry, guys. A little congested today. So we don't know whether, again, Goff may be back or may not be back. I kind of misspoke there. They're not sure. They're being kind of tight-lipped. If not, then John Wolford's going to be trying to win 2 games in a row. But they have not scored a touchdown, an offensive touchdown in those games. I like Seattle at home, even with no fans. The Seattle defense has started to play better. Again, giving up only 7 points to the Rams 2 weeks ago. And their offense has been, Russell Wilson and the wideouts. But I love DK Metcalf. I think their offense is electric. And I guess the only place I'm not chalk this isn't a chalk pick. This is a chalk pick, but later on down the road, you may see that I will not be quite as chalked. So I think that, given the Rams situation at quarterback, Seattle's improved defense, I think Seattle will win this game and move on to round 2, the divisional round, as it were. This is the wild card round that we're talking about now. We move into Tampa Bay, Washington at 8:15 on NBC Saturday night. Tom Brady gets the Saturday night slot almost every time he's in the playoffs. Being a Patriots fan, I know this because I spend a lot of 8 o'clock games at the recovery room watching the Pats play playoff football. Bucks are the 5th-ranked team. Washington's the 4th-ranked team. The Washington defense is playing really, really spectacular football. Chase Young says he's going after Tom Brady. He says he will get to Tom Brady all day long. It's possible he will. If he does, this game's going to be closer than people think, because if they pressure Tom Brady, and Tom Brady's going to get a little bit happy feet because this is what Tommy does, especially now that he's 43 years old. I think it's probably even more prolific. But I really believe, there's just too many weapons on Tampa Bay. And Washington cannot score with Tampa Bay. If the Redskins, the team formerly known as the Redskins, find a way to put the ball in the end zone 3 times, well, maybe they can make a game of this. I think they'll keep it close. I think it'll be closer than the spread, which is 8.5. But I like Tampa Bay to win this game. Washington's offense is really the worst statistically rated for offensive efficiency in the league this year. And I think that Tom Brady's experience, the fact that Alex Smith has not been lights out, that offense is not lights out, unless they find a way to score a couple of touchdowns on defense, which could happen. I think that, given the lack of consistently being able to get the ball down the field for Washington, I expect the Bucs to do some blitzing, Todd Bowles to do some blitzing and keep some pressure on Alex Smith. And he really doesn't have a lot of weapons to go to. So I'm going to have to take Tampa Bay in this game to move on to the divisional round. Next game is Sunday. That's our 3 games for Saturday. So we've got the Bills, we've got the Seahawks, we've got the Bucs. Sunday at 1:05 p.m. on ESPN and ABC both, I believe, will be the Ravens, the number 5 Ravens at the number 4 Titans. These are 2 teams that are a bit enigmatic. Oh, boy. They're a riddle to me. Let's put it that way. We won't even try to say the word a third time. The Titans are up and down. They go as far as Derrick Henry can take them. I liked them in a big spot in Green Bay a couple of weeks ago. They got beat 40-7. Their defense is horrendous. They are playing this game at home. Lamar Jackson has been up and down, but they've won now 5 in a row after falling to 6-5 at midseason, being in danger of missing the playoffs altogether. But I just like Lamar Jackson in this game against the Titan defense. I think they've got a revenge factor due to the fact that their great season last year and Lamar Jackson's great season last year was derailed by the underdog Titans in the playoffs. Baltimore is actually a 3-point favorite here on the road, which is odd unless you're a team like the team formerly known as the Redskins. You're going to get points at home. I think Baltimore will find a way to keep Henry in check. You're not going to stop him, but you slow him down. You make Ryan Tannehill throw the football 3rd and long. He'll make mistakes. And I think Lamar Jackson will exploit the Titans' defense and throw for 3 or 4 touchdowns. I really do. And I think they're going to win this game handily by a couple of touchdowns. That's my prediction here. The Ravens like to run the football. But running that football allows Lamar Jackson to be able to throw the ball as well. So I think that running game will set up Lamar Jackson throw at least 3 touchdowns. Ray Golick says, is it baseball season yet? I'm still in my Patriot gear. This morning I had my Yankee top on when I interviewed Hal McCoy, Ray. So, yes, baseball season is upon us. Ray, I believe, is a Cowboy fan. And Ray, I don't think you'd been watching the Sunday. Maybe you have later on, but I've been really high in the Cowboys all year. I had predicted with a couple of weeks to go that the Giants would lose out, which means the Cowboys would beat them last week. And that both the both the team formerly known as the Redskins and the Giants would lose out. The Cowboys would win out, and the Cowboys would be in the playoffs. Didn't pan out because the Cowboys could not beat the Giants. Well, so what? It's a lost year, right? Hopefully you sign Dak and you're back in it. For your sake, I hope. I don't know what your thought is there. You can certainly comment there. We're talking about the playoffs here, Ray, but I don't have a problem talking a little bit about the some of the teams that didn't make it a little bit as we go through these games. Where was I? So Lamar Jackson and Baltimore will pull away and beat the Titans handily, I believe, to move on to the divisional playoffs. Yeah, the ending was atrocious. I agree. Well, fortunately, Andy Dalton's a free agent. You won't have to watch him probably again. Probably got to get Dak signed unless you guys got another plan. So, moving on to the second game on Sunday. The Bears, the number 7 Bears, and the resurgent Bears against the number 2 Saints. The Saints are a 9.5-point favorite here at home. I don't see any way the Bears stay in this game. The Bears have played very well, very, very well the last few weeks. They played well early in the year. They were kind of getting it done with smoke and mirrors. Couldn't decide on a quarterback. Trubisky wasn't playing well, got hurt. They put Foles in. Foles didn't play well, got hurt. Trubisky gets back in, plays pretty well. It's entirely possible Mitch Trubisky saved Nagy's job, and it's possibly even saved his own future in Chicago. Hard to tell. He's a free agent. He's a free agent that I like, actually. It is a lot of points, but I'm not picking spreads in these games, Ray. These are straight up right through the Super Bowl. We'll pick against the spread probably on Sunday. Ray also says Dak needs to be re-signed. It's a difference. Yeah, I agree. He is a difference maker, and he needs to be re-signed. We'll see what Jerry decides to do there. So back to the Chicago Saints matchup. The Saints are going to be as healthy as they've been in a while. Drew Brees is still banged up with the ribs, but he's played through it. Drew Brees is getting older. This is his last chance to get to his second Super Bowl. We'll see, because he may retire at the end of the season. So this may be his last chance. But they're getting healthy. They got all their running backs back. Potentially Michael Thomas will be back. Alvin Kamara should be back after being out for COVID last week. The Saints defense has played much better. The Bears defense is starting to wear down a little bit. They've been in some shootouts recently where Trubisky's played well. The offense has picked it up. The defense is really kind of starting to struggle a little bit. Even with Khalil Mack, who's one of the best defensive players in the NFL. And it's what's carried them mostly for the last few years when they've been, in contention. So the Bears have been hot. The running game has been better. David Montgomery scored a rushing touchdown in 5 straight games, longest in 30 years, I think. Trubisky's played better, as I said. And I think what's going to happen here is the New Orleans has got to get Kamara involved in a passing game. And if they do that, and Brees stays healthy, it should not be a hard game for the Saints to be able to win here. So I'm on the Saints to beat Chicago handily. I don't even know if the 9 points is that much. I think they'll probably win by a couple touchdowns. But we're just picking winners. Excuse me. Very, very congested today. Sorry, guys. Where was I? 8:15, the third game this weekend. Wildcard weekend. 6 games instead of 2 with the expanded playoffs Only one teams with bye, or two teams with byes, one in each conference, Kansas City and Green Bay. We got the number 6 Browns at the number 3 Steelers. Lots of weird stuff going on here. COVID has really ravaged the Browns the last 2 weeks. They're playing Pittsburgh for the second week in a row. They barely got by them last week with Mason Rudolph playing quarterback. So they overcame their COVID issues. But this week they're playing without their head coach. Stefanik is out of the game. And they're also without one of their offensive linemen. His name is escaping me right now. Big Ben is back. The Steelers have played better. We're playing better. Last week I got to kind of throw out because they were not playing all their starters, or many of them. And it's funny. Baker Mayfield, his numbers are good. I think he's second to Rodgers in QBR, whatever that stat means. But I'm just not a big fan of Baker Mayfield in a spot like this. In a big game, Baker Mayfield hasn't played a lot of big games. You can call last week a big game, but Steelers are playing with, one arm tied behind their back. Steelers had played better the 2 weeks before leading into this after their 3-game dip. Ben was able to get the ball down the field a little bit better. Their running game's coming together. Their defense has played pretty good. And I don't think with all the distractions in the Browns camp with the COVID and Stefanski, I called him Stefanik earlier. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Stefanski being out, you're missing your head coach is not a small thing when he's also the play caller. Cannot communicate from home. You guys may say, well, we can have Zoom. No, there's rules in the NFL put into place long before COVID was a consideration that you cannot have communication outside of the stadium from X time to X time. And the game is in that window. So he cannot communicate with the team during the game. So no, we won't be coaching and calling plays from home. So with all that said, I see it's going to be the Cleveland running game against the Pittsburgh defense. Big Ben in that passing game against the Cleveland defense. And in that matchup, I see Big Ben winning. He's been here before. Mayfield has not been here before. I'm not a huge fan of Mayfield to begin with. And I think this spot's going to be a little bit too big for him. And I think Pittsburgh will win. I think it'll be a close game, though. So that wraps up week 1, the wild card weekend. To recap, I have the Bills over the Ravens. The Bills over the Colts. I've got the Seahawks over the Rams. I've got the Bucks over the team formerly known as the Redskins. I've got the Ravens over the Titans on the road. Close game. I think a lot of these will be close games. Games you might not think about. I think Washington, Tampa Bay will be much closer than you think. I think the Rams and Seattle will be close. I don't think the Bills and Colts will be that close. I don't think the Saints and Chicago will be that close. I do think Pittsburgh will be close with the Browns. There you've got my picks. 6 games, 6 winners moving on to the following week. Now remember, Kansas City and Green Bay will play the lowest seeded team left. Ray Phillips, how are you, buddy? Happy birthday. Happy birthday, and really sorry to hear about your brother Russell. Good guy. As I said, I don't know if you caught it on Facebook, but I'll divert a little bit here because that's kind of what I do. Had a lot of fun, back in the old days with the Perth Businessmen's League, or Perth Merchants League. I can't remember what the name of it was now. But we had a lot of fun Thursday nights bowling. And your brother Russ was a good guy. And my condolences, or my heartfelt condolences, mine and my wife's, go out to you and the whole family. So good to see you here, though, Ray. Thanks for stopping by. Sorry the Patriots aren't playing this weekend, but, we can't have everything in life, right? So let's move on to the divisional round. So this means Kansas City and Green Bay are going to get the lowest ranked team. So Kansas City is going to end up playing the Ravens, the 5th seeded team, and Green Bay would end up getting, can't read my writing here. Good grief. Seattle. No, I'm sorry. That's not right. Green Bay would get Tampa Bay. I moved on a week ahead. Oh, gosh. Sorry, it's been that kind of day, guys. Divisional round. These days and times on these games are still kind of up in the air. So we don't know what networks or what time or what days these games will get played. That'll get decided by the TV networks, which everything does, because that's where all the money comes from. But we do know, based on what I just told you, what the matchups will be. Because my prognostication skills have been above and beyond this year. Not so much. All right, guys. So what we do know is we're going to have Buffalo, the 2 seed, playing Pittsburgh. I think it's an interesting matchup. They played during the regular season. It's an up-and-coming team against a team that's been there and is kind of sliding down the hill. It's a quarterback who's on the rise against a quarterback who's been at the top of the mountain and is sliding backwards. Big Ben's last chance, maybe. Been banged up, taking a beating through his career. He's a big, tough guy. Listen, I'm not a Steelers fan. Greg Hall, Steve Brown. I'm not a Pittsburgh fan. But I respect Ben Roethlisberger as a quarterback, and I respect your coach even more. Great coach, Mike Tomlin. So I think the Steelers win the coaching matchup here, although Dermott's done very well. I just think what will happen here is Buffalo will get over the hump. They'll score points. Pittsburgh's giving up some yards in the passing game, and I think Josh Allen will keep it rolling, and the Bills fans will be happy. That game will be played in Buffalo again, by the way. And I think Buffalo will move on to the AFC Championship game. In the other AFC game, in the divisional round, we got the Ravens at the Chiefs. That's the championship game we expected last year till the Titans spoiled it. Kansas City, it's funny that they finished the season, resting their starters. They had a tremendous regular season. The funny part is, even at 14-2, you feel like they struggled here and there. And I said all through the season, if you watch my show on Sundays, as we talked about the pro games every week and the stories of the week, that the Chiefs' biggest challenger was going to be boredom. And I think that's what's happened. And hopefully the switch is there for them. I think it is. They got too many weapons. Tyreek Hill, obviously Mahomes is by far the best quarterback right now. I don't know, not by far, but he's at least this much ahead of Russell Wilson. Again, so this game's going to be in Kansas City. Don't think there'll be any fans at that game, but I'm not sure who's got fans and who doesn't at this point. And that's a changing situation. We all know the situation that we're in. Even where they say will be fans, there could be no fans on come game day this Saturday or Sunday or a week from now or 2 weeks from now at the championship games. Kansas City's defense is a little bit underrated, I think. They aren't. I think they're as good as their offense. I've talked about this before. Some defenses are made better by their offenses. The Chiefs keep their defense off the field. They strike fast sometimes, but they can also churn out long drives. I just think they're too good for the Ravens. I think the Ravens defense will probably keep the running game in check for Kansas City, but Mahomes has got, again, watch this guy play, and it's amazing. It's amazing the things he can do. He's in trouble. He's not known as a great runner like Lamar Jackson, but he gets big runs, important runs. You get some where you don't see him coming. And he can do things throwing the football that nobody else can do. Lamar Jackson can't do. So I think the talent level here just bears out Kansas City winning. So we'll end up with a Kansas City and Buffalo AFC Championship game in Kansas City on the 24th of this month. We'll talk about that in a second. In the NFC, we end up with Tampa Bay at Green Bay. Tom Brady against Aaron Rodgers. Pretty good matchup of quarterbacks there, huh? Even if they are a bit long in the tooth, both of them. Tom Brady's been up and down. Got nothing bad to say about Tom Brady. Tom Brady's done a very good job getting Tampa Bay to the playoffs for the first time since 2007. It's 13 years, guys. That's a long time. He's got so many weapons. Antonio Brown is now a big part of that offense. Gronk has come on here in the second half. The play calling has changed a little bit. Arians and Brady seem to be more on the same page. But who knows when this game will be played? If it's played Saturday night in Green Bay, it's going to be cold. Tom Brady's played in the cold for his entire career, playoff games. But I don't see it happening here. I'm not sure what I think here. I think I'm changing my mind as we talk about this. I think Tom Brady's on a bit of a mission. I think Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay's been a little bit overrated here. Just based on the schedule that they've played. You know, the teams that they've played that are a little better, they've struggled against. I'm gonna switch myself up here, and I'm taking Tampa Bay to beat Green Bay in the divisional round here in the NFC. Tampa Bay beats Green Bay. I base that solely on my faith in Tom Brady of wanting to get to another big game. That brings us to Seattle at New Orleans. Seattle's, again, been a strange team this year. They go as far as Russell Wilson will take them, it seems. Although, as I said in talking about the Rams matchup, their defense is playing much, much better. And if they keep playing that way on the road and can keep Russell Wilson in games and give him a chance to win at the end, they can get to the big game, in my opinion, because their defense is playing better. Carson's running the ball better. So I'm going to take Seattle on the road. 2 road teams winning in the divisional round in the NFC. Here I thought I was going to be chalk, and I keep talking myself right out of it. So you got Tampa Bay winning on the road, Seattle winning on the road. And facing each other, that would mean Tampa Bay will go to Seattle in the NFC Championship game. So we've made it through 2 weeks of the playoffs. That takes us to January 24th. The AFC, NFC Championship games. Let's see if I can cue up some music here. Might get cut off. Who do we like? We got to tune that down just so we don't get cut off by Facebook for any copyright infringements. Sorry, guys. I've been playing with my Roadcaster. We're gonna start playing. We're gonna start having some fun. So we do know when these games will be played. Based on my prognostication, we know where they'll be played. By my calculations, Tampa Bay will visit Seattle at 3:05 on Fox. Buffalo will travel to Kansas City at 6:40 on CBS. One chalk matchup, Buffalo at Kansas City, the 1 against the 2. And one far from chalk, 5 against 3, Tampa Bay and Seattle. So I've talked a lot about Buffalo, their improvement, learning from their mistakes in the playoffs last year, Josh Allen's growth as a quarterback, McDermott being a really good coach. But I think they're running into a buzzsaw here in Kansas City. I think there's a chance Kansas City could win 2, maybe be the first team to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. That's a year off. Let's stick with this year. I think they will take care of business here, playing at home. Bills defense, while playing better, has struggled. Kansas City handled Buffalo during the regular season fairly handily, although Buffalo's playing much better football now. I do think Kansas City will prevail at home simply because Mahomes is that much better than Josh Allen right now. 2 of the top 7 quarterbacks in the league. Obviously, Mahomes is at the top. Josh Allen's moving his way there. Josh Allen's had a great year. But Josh Allen doesn't bring that much more to the table skill-wise or running the ball and whatnot. Patrick Mahomes is underrated, as I said. The Kansas City defense, underrated. The defense could very well end up proving to be the difference maker in the end. And Patrick Mahomes. Very close game. Kansas City comes from behind, beats Buffalo. Goes to its 2nd consecutive Super Bowl. Kansas City beats Buffalo. We got one team in Tampa Bay. That takes us to the 3:05 game, so I'm going backwards in time. I should have started with the 3:05 game, but we've got the upstarts. 43-year-old upstart from Tampa Bay, Tom Brady. Tampa Bay struggled. Again, another team that struggled in the middle of the season, but kind of caught fire here a little bit. 4 wins in a row. By this time, they'll have 6 wins in a row at Seattle. Seattle very quietly is 12-4, guys, and won 4 in a row. Will have won 6 in a row by this time as well. We've talked a lot about how bad their defense was early in the year, but they played better recently. I think they'll play better in the playoffs. You got Tom Brady against Russell Wilson, another guy at the peak of his game. Russell Wilson, I'm talking about, guys. Much as I love Tom Brady, Tom Brady's not at the peak of his game. Tom Brady's still in the top 10 quarterbacks in the league, probably. Especially want to talk about intangibles and winning football games. I think this game comes down to, again, another close game. I think Tampa Bay's weapons are going to give Seattle defense fits. I think, again, this will be a close football game, and Seattle will come back in the final minutes and win the game on the arm and the legs of Russell Wilson and take them to Tampa Bay and deny Tampa Bay the opportunity to be the first team to play at home in the Super Bowl. That leaves us, I don't know what the date would be. 31st, I guess it's like February 6th, I think, is the Super Bowl. I was supposed to leave on a cruise that day, so I should know this. I think it's February 6th. I will not be leaving on that cruise, by the way. So let's just say February 6th at 6. Wait a minute, I can tell you. I got it right here. Hold on. Where are you? February 7th. I'm sorry. I was leaving on February 6th on a Saturday. I was right. Still not leaving. Thank you, COVID-19. That's the second cruise you've canceled on me in 6 months. Kansas City and Seattle in the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, February 7th at 6:40. Matchup of two, probably the two best quarterbacks in the league today. Aaron Rodgers might argue. I don't think anybody else has really got an argument right now. I'm going to say the two best quarterbacks in football will be matching up in the Super Bowl. Doesn't happen a lot, guys. Two tremendous offensive teams. Two teams whose defenses have been maligned a bit. Seattle's especially this year. These two teams haven't played. I don't know that. I don't think Mahomes and Wilson have ever matched up. And this would be the first matchup of those two elite quarterbacks, Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes. So how do you pick a winner? I think the overall versatility of the Kansas City offense will be just too much for Seattle. I think they'll score some points, Seattle. But again, Kansas City's offense keeps Kansas City's defense off the field. I think in a very close game, maybe similar to last year, this could be this could be the third game in a row I say gets pulled out in the final minutes. And this time again it'll be pulled out, just like last year, by Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm going to have the Chiefs beating Seattle in that Tampa Stadium. To be clear, Tampa Bay will not be playing. Kansas City and Seattle will be playing. Kansas City will beat Seattle. Patrick Mahomes beats Russell Wilson. There's my winner, guys. Kansas City over Seattle. Who's the MVP? Patrick Mahomes. Russell Wilson close behind. Probably whoever wins the quarterback's going to win. We know that already. It's a quarterback award. I mean, again, if there was going to be a dark horse here, guys, a real dark horse, I mean, again, Tampa Bay is a 5 seed. That's a dark horse. Tampa Bay could throw I think could probably throw some, salt in my face here and beat Seattle. I've already got them upsetting Green Bay in Green Bay. Can the team formerly known as the Redskins throw any kind of challenge in and scare anybody? I don't think so. On the AFC side, if there's going to be a sleeper, and it's funny that I'm going to say this because I've been down on them all year, could be the Colts. The Colts can run the ball better than anybody else. Maybe outside of the Ravens. Maybe the Ravens can run it equally as well because of their quarterback. That's the difference there. I guess when I'm talking about rushing, I'm talking about running backs. Jonathan Taylor's going to be the next great thing in the NFL. So, to me, the only sleeper in the AFC is the Colts. I don't think the Titans have what it takes. I don't think the Ravens have what it takes to win multiple games. They just don't. I don't think the Rams, I would have said were a sleeper at 6 in the NFC, but not with Jared Goff banged up. Don't think it can happen. So that's it. I don't think there's any dispute you guys can make, but I hope you'll make your comments. I hope you'll share what you think of my picks, good or bad. But I will say one more time, I've got Kansas City over Seattle. I'll even give you a score, 35-31. Last minute touchdown by Patrick Mahomes to Tyreek Hill. Now, Kelsey. Sorry. The music distracted me. Last minute victory. Kansas City beats Seattle in the Super Bowl February 7th, about 11 o'clock at night, and I hope I can stay awake. No Patriots. Keith's got to find a way to stay interested in the playoffs. Here's the first step, picking it all the way through. I'll review these picks on Sunday. Got 2 songs playing at once. I'll review these picks on Sunday, live at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. The rest of my pickers, Billy, Drew, Rick, Mark, and I hope Mark, the other Mark, gets involved this weekend. I want you to be involved in the TGI Sports Talk happy hour or whenever COVID allows it. So get your picks in, guys. Get them to me. Don't forget. Second round, Kansas City, Green Bay get the worst 2 picks. Keith's picks are in. Kansas City beats Seattle in a great Super Bowl game. See you Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Keith Engel, TGI Sports Talk. Have a great Friday.